Son of Kryptons, Amazons, followers of Apocalypse, humans. Today we are talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, and we are going over a lot. Almost too much. There's a lot, but first of all, there's a really awesome new character trailer for Batman that just released that I need to play to you all, just in case you haven't seen it. If you have seen it already, then just fanboy out again, especially over that amazing score. So roll the little clippy trailer.
I heard about you. Didn't think you were real.
Your guilts have become your reason.
Hate is useless.
I will come for my great prize.
If you want the Batman, here is something that can help you.
I have a stake in this world, and it's time I started fighting for it.
You've fulfilled your promise. I spent a lot of time trying to divide us. I need to bring us together and make this right.
So how about that? Like I know it's just a little trailer, but it's so cinematic. Snyder's amazing with visuals. We already know that. We get to see Batman on top of the War Machine, but let me put that to the sideline just for a single second. Today, what are we actually talking about? Well, we're going over that initially, but also we have all 6 chapter titles revealed for Zack Snyder's Justice League, but also a boatload of information that I kind of want to talk about, inform you all about, with what came out of the IGN interview with that whole IGN, Justice League showcase that happened around the end of February that I haven't covered until now, but I just wanted to put it into one big video. So if you want to hear him talk about Justice League 2, Batman's 20-year history in Gotham, Martian Manhunter tidbits, freaking Joker tidbits, Kryptonian pod mystery tidbits, and even more, like the big cliffhanger, stay to the end of the video because we're going to be doing a lot of reading, but also a lot of discussing, and yeah, you get the picture. So go ahead and like this video if you do go on to enjoy it. I really do appreciate that. It takes 2 seconds, and I know half of you still haven't done it, but do it. Go and do it. And other than that, subscribe for more Zack Snyder's Justice League. So first of all, before we get into all the juicy tidbits and very recent updates, what about that trailer? So obviously this is an extended shot of the War Machine shot that we got in the actual Snyder Cut trailer, where we saw a little glimpse of it, but now we actually see a pan-out cinematic shot coming from Batman, and I really have to say that I have mixed opinions on Batman's suit. I love it, I really do, and there's parts I love about Ben Affleck's Batman, but the one thing I just don't like is the neck area. It kind of makes it look like a little bit of a thumb, if you know what I mean, just in terms of how thick it is, and that's not Ben Affleck's neck, that's just like the cowl. But here, the shot of it looks so good, so good. Gotham in the backdrop just looks incredible. It really does. It's like such a perfect smoggy Gotham effect. But honestly, I would love to fanboy about the visuals forever, but the words in the trailer are as follows. Just in case you're wondering who was who, because we also get to hear Darkseid's voice. First voice we hear in the trailer is from Cyborg saying, "I heard about you, didn't think you were real." This was featured in very old trailers of Justice League, so I guess they're keeping, that was one of the original shot kind of things from Snyder. Next up, we hear a line from Alfred. I love Alfred's lines, where he says, "Your guilts have become your reason." Up next, Wonder Woman says, "Hate is useless." And then we get to hear Darkseid himself. I really like the voice. He says, "I will come for my great prize." And just based on my first impressions of this snippet, I really love the voice. There's not much more to say other than that sounds menacing and evil enough for me for a Darkseid. But up next though, Lex says, "If you want the Batman, here is something that can help you." Now, I could be wrong about this, but as we know, the original ending for the Justice League was when Deathstroke was going to Lex, and he was actually going after the Batman because I broke this down in another video, but long story short, there's been some major crap in the past between Bruce Wayne and Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke, to the point of where the OG idea for the Batman movie is where he was going to go around and kill everyone dear to Bruce, like literally completely dismantle his life. And I believe that line from Lex could be that very line from the end of the movie where we get the original shot in where Lex is giving information to Deathstroke about the Batman and saying, "If you want the Batman, here is something that can help you," and that would have, led off to that kind of world of things. But, you know, with regards to what Snyder said in terms of some of the details, it's a little teaser for stuff that we're going to go over later in the video. Snyder did recently explain how the traditional villain will fit in alongside the heroes by saying, when we find him, clearly he and Batman have struck some sort of deal and they have a bit of a partnership. There's a bigger enemy, I guess. They're not locked in mortal combat. They're actually working together to try and figure out how to make this world work. Now, some people are thinking this could be Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke with the Mohawk that we've seen so far, could just be the Nightmare sequence. But either way, the fact that we hear this line in this little snippet of a character trailer for Batman, I just have to believe, at least for now, unless you guys have something to say about it, that it's Lex saying that to Slade Wilson. But let me know your thoughts. But other than that, we also hear Martian Manhunter in the trailer. I have a stake in this world, and it's time I started fighting for it. Of course, then we hear Joker's laugh, and then Alfred saying, "You've fulfilled your promise." So yeah, just a little snippet. I'm not going to do a video unless something mind-blowing happens for every character trailer that will come out, because I'm pretty sure we're going to get more for each member of the Justice League with cool little snippets like this. But of course, recently as well, we did get a little snippet talking about this whole IGN thing. And by the way, I will leave links in the top pinned comment to where you can read all of this for yourself. Recently, we got that little Mother Box Origins clip that he initially actually considered using for the opening credits for the Justice League film. Styled after a classical Roman tableau, the Mother Box Origin sequence shows the various Justice League heroes immortalized as gods. Many Easter eggs in there. Now, of course, I would love to go over every grain of detail in this little thing from quite a few days ago now, but we've got a lot more to go over in this video, but I thought I'd mention it just in case you haven't seen this. And yeah, many Easter eggs in there, and most notably, the gravestone for Richard Dick Grayson near the Waynes as well. Yeah. The Robin that freaking died. Now, before we get into the IGN tidbits in the interview with Snyder, we have also got the chapter titles for the Zack Snyder's Justice League, because if you didn't know already, it is being divided up into chapters. Initially, we got the names of the first two, but now we have got all of them. So chapter number 1, or should I say part 1, Don't Count on It, Batman. Part 2 is The Age of Heroes. Part 3 is Beloved Mother, Beloved Son. Part 4, Change Machine. Part 5, All the King's Horses. Part 6, Something Darker. And obviously something darker entailing, yeah, there's something a lot darker than Steppenwolf coming, and that was obviously meant to set up Justice League 2, and we can all figure out what that big cliffhanger is going to be. Like, it's going to be Darkseid going freaking ham. And since this is 4 hours, 2 minutes long, like that is the actual runtime, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering about like actual chapter or part releases. Snyder had this to say about that specifically. While an episode release was considered, it got complicated, possibly due to contractual difficulties, and ultimately fans would have been mad if they had to wait weeks for an episodic Justice League to be completed. The movie was always filmed as a single piece with a 6-chapter structure, which is how it will be released. So let's go over the information that Snyder recently teased us with, you know, quite a lot more than what I thought would come out of that IGN thing. So I would like to begin with Snyder talking about Darkseid. So IGN say this, that Snyder hinted that Darkseid was intended to be the villain in a notional Justice League 2, but made it clear that he will make a major contribution to this film. He's certainly the sequel bad guy, but he definitely is in full effect. He's running the show. He's there. I don't want to, again, spoil it, but yeah, he's definitely there. And as for why he's there, Snyder says Darkseid has tons of human motivation. Not just a quest to conquer, he operates on another plane. But certainly something happened to him in the past and he's not happy about it, and it's really hurt him. It's shaped him, and he's looking to make it right. And so I think there's a lot of nuance in him, and Ray does a great job of voicing him. Now, I find it interesting when he says, like, I don't want to, again, spoil it, but yeah, he's definitely there. Obviously, we've seen him in the trailers, but these trailers, if you think about the runtime of this movie being 4 freaking hours and 2 minutes long, I feel like saying the line of, we ain't seen nothing yet. But how about the relationship between Steppenwolf and Darkseid? Well, IGN go on to say, as for Steppenwolf, the villain of Joss Whedon's cut of Justice League, Snyder explains that he and Darkseid have a very complicated relationship. He says, I'm not going to give it away, but the dynamic between the two of them, some things have happened in the past. There's a bunch of issues between them, and so yeah, I think that all plays out. Yes, the answer is there's quite a complex relationship there. Now, I can't wait to see some of those things. I mean, I didn't even think there would be a massive complex relationship there. I thought Steppenwolf will truly be his right-hand fanboy hype man, if you know what I mean. And obviously that's the way that Joss Whedon's cut played it. Like he, as they just pointed out, was the villain of that, but the reason why, and what I just read out formally with Darkseid having massive involvement in this compared to what was originally just going to be probably most of him committed to the sequel, Justice League 2, that we're going to get a lot more fleshing out, especially between these two, a little bit more complexity thrown in there. And yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see whatever this complicated history is between them both in Snyder's iteration. Now, I thought I'd chuck this bit in here, and it has to do with Justice League 2. So IGN said that Snyder was asked whether he would accept an offer to make Justice League 2, but was a little cagey about what his answer would be. He says, that's very hypothetical. I think that I would say I would believe it when I see it, and happy to cross that bridge when I see it approaching. And I mean, I wouldn't expect any other answer from him. Like, you can imagine if the fan reaction was quite literally monumentally massive, and it literally just somehow shook the world of Warner Brothers to be like, oh crap. Since we are doing DC multiverse movies and like we're continuing Shazams and Wonder Womans, but we're also having Matt Reeves in his own pocket universe over there, but we're also doing a new Superman film with a black Superman. Hey, why not do Justice League 2 if the fans and the viewership is that big? Like, do you know what I mean? I think if that got to that point, Zack would be like, now, for all the big Batman fans such as myself, IGN spoke to Snyder, and Snyder explained some backstory for his version of Batman, saying that the 20 years of crime fighting under his utility belt probably led to the grayer morals than we're used to seeing from the character. Snyder says our Bruce had a higher moral or stronger moral compass when he first started crime fighting in Gotham 20 years ago. But he's seen a lot of rough stuff happen over the years, and I think that he's a bit jaded now, obviously. The death of Robin and others. I think that he has now found himself in a dark place, but yes, the whole point was that the death of Superman really shakes him out of that and puts him on this really cathartic path to form the Justice League and do his part. Now, I completely, like, trust me, I'm one of those people who still didn't agree with the events of, like, the chain gun, the explosions of thug cars where they literally die. Like, but I also understand the psychology of this character in this universe. I would still personally say, like, as he admits here, like, Batman was the typical Batman, like, doesn't kill at the start of the career, but then he became jaded. You get that line from Bruce to Alfred, 20 years in Gotham, Alfred, blah, blah, you know, that kind of thing. I get it. I personally still think that Bruce Wayne, the character of Batman, despite Snyder, like, kind of not believing that's a realistic approach in terms of what he said before, and I respect that. How do I put it? Would still prevail in his moral code, but, you know, I still respect it. I still really enjoy it. I'm not one of those flamers who would just be like, yeah, screw this. Like, trust me, like, I'm a huge hardcore Batman fan, and it's, you know, just interesting to hear him talk about that. And I'd love to know your take on that as well. Are you kind of like me, where it's just like, yeah, they don't really agree with it, but I still dig it. So up next, Martian Manhunter tidbit. So IGN says, replying to a question from actor Harry Lennox, Snyder explained how Lennox's General Calvin Swanwick and Martian Manhunter are connected in the new movie after we learned the alien superhero would be revealed. Zack says, in my mind, Swanwick and Martian Manhunter, it's like his alter ego. That's kind of the way I see it. If you notice the way he's manipulated both Lois and Clark to do their best, to be the best they can be, because in this incarnation, he wants humanity to do it themselves, and or this new hero in Superman. I think that's kind of the way I see it, that they have the same voice. And once again, cannot wait to see, you know, Martian Manhunter be revealed in the film. I don't think he's going to have an absolute monumental role, but undoubtedly, you know, we're going to see something. And well, what more can I say other than I'm here for it? The Joker tidbits are kind of what you would expect, with IGN saying Jared Leto's Joker makes an appearance in the film with a new look based on his appearance in the post-apocalyptic nightmare reality that Batman witnesses. It's a cameo that wasn't part of the original script, but one Snyder says is all about just trying to fulfill the promise of having the Joker in this universe and not having him and Batman come together. I always wanted him to be in a nightmare reality, and so it was a great opportunity. When I talked to Jared and he was interested in doing it, I just felt like, okay, this feels like a thing I can't pass up. And yeah, I agree with that. Say what you will about Jared Leto's Joker, but I am very happy, despite not being the biggest fan of that take, I'm very happy to see another take, another chance. I don't know if I want to label that, to be honest, as another chance, because we're not going to really get enough substance for him to probably sell something, but it's going to be enough substance to, I think, sway people into thinking, holy crap, imagine if we did see more of this, especially without the tattoos this time, because we don't have the tattoos. They've disappeared somehow. Now, the myth, the legend of the Kryptonian pod. IGN detailed that there's long been discussion over who inhabited an empty Kryptonian pod in Man of Steel, and some wondered whether that mystery would be solved in the Snyder Cut. Sadly, the mystery will seemingly go on and may never be solved. Zack said it definitely is in Justice League. They pass it and they look at it, they don't talk about it, but yeah, that is an open question, and I would hope at some point to find out who was in there, what's going on. IGN said a release the open pod answer hashtag was surely sprung up, to which Snyder replied, there already is, trust me, yeah, you're not gonna get that one, not for a while anyway, or ever. And if you're wondering whether there even is a definitive answer, Snyder made clear he knows who is in there. Now, I think, you know, most people obviously assume Supergirl was like maybe the original intention, and then maybe that did transform along the way, but then lo and behold, we have got a Supergirl now cast in the DCEU. But don't forget, this is a different kind of canon, if you will, and Snyder even explains that himself, and we'll get onto that in just a second. So there is still always opportunity for, ooh, who else could that be? Like, what opportunity is it? Like, this wouldn't be a mystery at all if it was as simple as Supergirl. So, do you know what I mean? Would still love your thoughts about that down in the comments. But let's talk about the big cliffhanger. Well, it was meant to be 2 more movies. This movie doesn't really encompass any of the additional movies other than little. It hints, as you would, at a potential other world. I'd plant the seeds, as I'd wanted to, of what would come in later films. That's in there. But as far as those stories that would be to come if that ever happened, which it does not look like it would. Now, what about Snyder's opinion on his canon, the way that certain characters have continued on after his continuity in terms of changing tone? Best example of that is BVS's Wonder Woman to what Patty did with Wonder Woman. Well, this is Zack's take on that. I think you can view my Snyderverse version of the DC superhero canon as its own thing. I love Patty and James and what they've done with their movies and are amazing, but at this point, I was just like, this is its own thing and it doesn't really owe anything to anything. So I'm just going to do exactly as I always intended. And I definitely think that's the right way to approach it. Like, he had that vision, the character's vision as well. Stay cohesive with that. Have them exactly as they were. And people still loved those versions as it was, so the Snyder Cut shouldn't change any of that. Now, to prevent this video from going on for the next 1,000 years, there are other little tidbits like the importance of Cyborg to the film and what Zack has to say about that, tidbits on recoloring the suit and what they had to do with that, because this still technically is the same suit, but they had to like do some VFX to completely recolor that in post-production and stuff. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video anyway. I just kind of wanted to slam dunk like a little dose or a medium dose of information of recent news. It felt great talking about it, especially with the bolstered mood, I guess I would say, of that little character spot trailer for Batman, of the Snyder Cut, if you will. And just, yeah, just hearing those quotes, hearing Darkseid's voice and whatnot, I feel really kind of invigorated with a little bit of low-key hype. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to overhype the Snyder Cut. I still feel like, you know, it's going to be a good movie. I don't want to call it amazing already going into it, just in case, you know, expectations set me up for that failure. But we're going to have to wait and see. I still think it's something I'm going to massively appreciate. And, you know, it's really just great that it's happening. I really feel on the train that is stopping at Hype Station, so to speak. So I would love to know what you thought of all of this news down in the comments below. Are there maybe any other videos you want to see from me about the Snyder Cut? But if you made it to this part of the video, I would love for you guys to prove it. I know I do this recently, but seriously, it's just funny seeing the comments of those who actually do make it. Darkseid is on the Clark side. Anyway, though, guys, really appreciate your support. Make sure you subscribe if you aren't already. A lot of you aren't. It shows me that in the video analytics. So if you're coming back here, make sure you hit that red button. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And I'll see you, people of the Snyderverse, in the next video. Goodbye.